Hello and good evening. I'm Graham. Welcome to Litquake, San Francisco's Literary Festival. We're streaming live tonight from the Bay Area, and our festival runs through the 24th. You can find all the details at litquake.org. Tonight, we are honored to present the Root Slam Working People section. If you don't know what that is, the Working People section is a tradition amongst poetry venues where the event organizers get to share their work. There are only 3 rules. All the organizers share, it has to be new, and it better shake the room. Tonight's event is co-presented by Oakland Public Library with support from the Zellerbach Family Foundation, which has made Litquake Out Loud possible. This is a new curatorial series aimed at highlighting the Bay Area's BIPOC and queer writers and thought leaders. There's one more Litquake Out Loud event tomorrow night with Aya De Leon, and you can watch all the past events on the Litquake YouTube and Facebook pages. A few quick orders of business tonight before we get started. There's a little Q&A function down there at the bottom. If you feel so moved to ask a question tonight, please do it down there. You can type it in. If you just want to comment, if you want to tell the poets how you feel, what you think, you can also do it down there. We're going to see it all. At the very end of the night, when we shut down, there's going to be a little pop-up screen. We're sorry about that, but this is a survey, and it's asking some essential information that we use to find new donors and to apply to grants. It should take about 5 minutes. Please help us out and fill out a survey. We also ask you for your support of the Litquake organization to allow us to bring you these events largely for free. The Bay Area was already a precarious place for artists and arts nonprofits, and now things are even more difficult. If you believe in keeping literature a key component of the Bay Area's cultural landscape, please consider dropping us a few dollars. Every little bit helps. We accept donations on Venmo at Litquake, on PayPal at info@litquake.org, or directly at litquake.org. Now, let's get on with the show. Tonight's Litquake Out Loud has been curated by Gabriel Cortez, a Black biracial poet, educator, and arts organizer of Panamanian descent. His work has appeared in the New York Times, NPR, Huffington Post, The Rumpus, and the Breakbeat Poets Anthology Volume 4. He is a Vona Fellow, a Bars Workshop alum, NALAC grant recipient, and the winner of the Judith Lee Stronach Baccalaureate Prize. Gabriel is a member of the artist collective Ghost Lines and co-founder of the Root Slam, an award-winning poetry venue dedicated to inclusivity, justice, and artistic growth, as well as Right Home, a project working to challenge public perceptions of houselessness and shift critical resources to houseless Bay Area youth through spoken word poetry. Gabriel currently works as the acting program director at Youth Speaks, one of the world's leading presenters of spoken word performance, education, and youth development programs. Gabriel is a very, very busy man doing some incredible work in our community, and I'm so happy we have him here tonight with the Root Slam. Let's welcome up Gabriel.
Right on. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Graham. And shout out to Litquake and all the folks that are organizing behind the scenes to make spaces like this possible. I know I'm super excited to be up in this space with the fam of the Root Slam. And so just like Graham mentioned, this is the working people section, and we're going to definitely be putting in that work tonight. So thank you so much for tuning in now. If you're tuning in the future, appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To begin this space, we wanted to start off with a land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge that here in Turtle Island, we occupy the stolen land of the Lishan Ohlone peoples. We give honor to the village of Huchen and the Lishan waterways. We mourn the ongoing genocide of Native peoples, which America was violently founded upon. We recognize that Native peoples and their movements are alive today, and we affirm our continued commitment to supporting Indigenous resistance. We encourage all non-Native community members living in the Bay Area to support the organizing of Ohlone community by paying the Shumi land tax. This voluntary land tax was created by the Segorite Land Trust, founded and led by Karina Gold, an Ohlone elder, and Janella LaRose. This is a community-based dedicated to rematriating land back into Indigenous stewardship. We encourage everyone tuning in to look up the people indigenous to their land using the online resource native-land.ca. And as we acknowledge the indigenous peoples who have and continue to live here, steward this land, and resist settler colonialism, we also acknowledge that this country has been built upon the forced labor of African people through violent systemic abduction from their homelands and enslavement over hundreds of years. We acknowledge the impact this has had on African descendants to this country's development. If you can get down with that, then wherever you're at, say, all right, then. I can't hear you, but I feel you. So appreciate you. So yeah, like I said, this is the working people section. It's a tradition amongst poetry venues for the working peoples, AKA the folks that help run the show, to get some space on the mic. So at the Root Slam, if you're able to ever come to our in-person shows, it was a regular part of our monthly show. And every month, each of the Root Slam organizers brought a new poem to premiere at the end of our open mic. So tonight, you're going to be hearing new poems from all 7 of the Root Slam's current organizers, including Sandy Vazquez, Tianna Bratcher, Ciera-Jevae Gordon, Will Smith, Natasha Huey, and me. And I'm super excited to introduce our first poet of tonight's Working People section. She organizes for justice in her hometowns of Tanawan and Oakland. She's a longtime prison abolitionist and recent Ruth Lilly Fellow. Before the pandemic, we had the same barber, but now she cuts her own hair. She's one of the co-founders of the Root Slam and one of my best friends. Wherever you're at, snap it up, clap it up, drop a let's go in the chat for Isabella Borgeson.
Yes, I can't hear you. I'm just kidding. I thought about like, what do you do to like hype up a virtual crowd? We haven't done like a Root Slam thing since shelter in place, and so I'm a little unpracticed. But I usually say necessary. So everybody say necessary wherever you are.
Necessary. I got you.
Oh, yay. Thank you, Gabriel. Yes, necessary. We're all necessary here. And I'm so grateful to be doing poems with some of my best friends. I think you're gonna like notice that this is a pattern soon, but like we all did poems in response to each other is like how we curated this order. So like, or like, it doesn't have to be directly like a poem after someone, but I did my poems after Sandy, and I was really excited about this process because I really, really admire Sandy's work. And I've really looked up to them for a while. And I think that of like many of my friends and all of the organizers on Root Slam, they're like a person who I really relate to in terms of just like our family, transnational families, having like family and accountability across borders, and like the very like unique things that come with that. Like, how do you send money to your family this weekend? Like, what's the nearest Western Union, or just like bonding over like WhatsApp group chats and things like that. And so yes, lots of love to Sandy. I'm gonna read a couple poems if that's okay. Hopefully a bunch of poems. This one's a really short one. It's called You So American. And one of like, when we were doing workshops as a crew around this, we were like, what if like it was a roast poem? So it's a very quick roast of myself. And it says, you so American, you came home with chopped hair and boy clothes on. You so American, you let the rice burn on the stove. You hid in your room instead of blessing your aunties. You so American, you kept the aircon on all nights again. And when you left, you turned off your notifications before texting your cousins back. Yay, hi. Yes, what? Welcome. Okay, this next poem is really the poem that's after Sandy, and it's inspired by one of the lines from their poem. So the poem is titled, My Therapist Asked Me What I Think I Owe My Mama. And that's like after a Sandy poem that I think says something like, my therapist asked me what I owe my parents or something like that. Yeah, okay. Sorry if I butchered that, Sandy. My therapist asked me what I think I owe my mama. A transnational altar of WhatsApp group chats, licked envelope of my Lola's orchid seeds, a table translating the time zones that scatter our family, a drawer spilling with Western Union receipts, all the frequent flyer miles I let expire before returning home. Or maybe my brightest colored panties, soap scrubbed in the shower, waving proudly across my windowsill like a flag to all my mama taught me. We, children of our mother's once unibrow, born of our Lolo's long ears that wiggle when we grow angry, chants, Dire akmaara magwaray. I do not understand how to return home, but I remember catching night bugs in my mother's jacaranda dress, sweeping our dead back into the house, my mother's crooked front teeth protruding from my lip. I boil the plants I gather on my block and dream myself a daughter of full mouth. What? I can't hear you.
Wow.
Oh, yes. What? Y'all, we should do that. We should come off mute. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't. I have limited time. Love y'all. Okay. This is a poem that I recently edited and I wrote a little while ago, but I've never shared before. It's called Pasibulau, which means little brown pig. And this is like I was doing interviews with my mom, and my mom has a hard relationship with the sea because of like the histories of like typhoons in our area. And this was like a happy story that she told me about the sea and her relationship with the sea younger. And I was like, what? So this is a poem written from my mom's perspective. In another life, I shouted at the ocean, Pasibulao, Pasibulao, little brown pig. Me and your aunties chanting our prayer, taunting the sea to grow bigger and faster so we can play until we see it. Bulging tall as the mountains of Samar, we scream, running face first into the wave. I didn't know how to swim back then, still don't, but I knew the water would carry me back to shore if I let it. Papa taught me to fear the sea. He knew I would drown if I became too bold. I knew the back of his slipper if I came home with panties wet from the river. But early in the evenings, on the hottest summer days, I could hear her waves calling my name like dawn bells sending me back to mass. Idai, won't you come out and play? Yeah, thank you. All right, I have 1 to 2 more poems. Shout out to small poems. Okay, this poem is called Green Fish, and I'm in a little poetry book club with some of my friends on here, including Gabriel, Natasha, and I was like challenged. We just read Araceli Escamillo's The Black Maria, and so I was challenging like we should write poems in response to each book that we read. And so this is my poem in response to that incredible book that everyone should go buy. And also any of their work, please. But this poem is called Green Fish. My mother tells me during the typhoon, the leaves of the naked tree look like a school of green fish swimming through the wind. A burial without bones is a nest of water fleas, dragonflies resting beneath San Juanico Bridge, secret as my ankle's longest hair, sacred as my family's dental records, or any jagged enamel that we could gather. My mother tells me during the typhoon, when she was sure she would drown, she wrote me a note detailing her clothing so I could identify her body for burial. After the storm, I find grave anywhere. The roots of the acacia tree, a quiet fishing net hanging, the dog's sharpest molar, water of any sea. Every day, the water is closer to drowning our ghosts. Every day, I will plant a crown of papaya blossoms and grow a chair for my mother's feet to find rest. Oh my God, I just went back to the screen and Sandy was grabbing. What? I love that. Keep doing that. I'm just kidding. Okay, this is my last poem. Do I have time? Put a timer. I do. Ooh, only a minute. Okay, really quick. My mama won't let me leave any home not my own without cleaning something first. An empty kitchen sink, my tita's mop floor. I come from a house of sweat stains under breasts. Sagging women who smell of roach spray in the morning, a snapping towel on naked legs, accents whistling through gaps in gold teeth, limbs swollen with dialysis or forgotten insulin shots, my titas who laugh so hard we piss our skirts then roll into the canal. We break from slicing to pour cool water between our thighs. We shoo the baby flies from tita's silvered heads. I come from a week of Sundays, hot combed doll dresses, a wig attached to nothing, breakfast dish broken against the brick wall, a machete swallowed by the sewer. And that poem is in some ways inspired by Sandy, because I remember just being like us talking about like, you don't leave a party without cleaning up the party that you are leaving. Like, you better find a dish, you better make a dish than find a dish. And so, yes, I want to introduce Sandy, who is an incredible poet, holds it down for LA, is not only a talented like writer and educator, but also an incredible dancer. And I think I've learned so much from them about like accountability first and foremost to like ourselves and to our boundaries, and that we need to be accountable to ourselves and to our boundaries in order to be accountable to our community. So much love to one of my best friends in the world, Sandy Vazquez.
Damn, Ease, you made my heart beat all fast.
That's right.
For real. You said, I'm upset you unmuted just to say that's right. So this is our relationship. You feel me? A very, very older sibling and then younger sibling, even though Issa's older than I am. But here we are. Thank you so much. Wow, I feel so very honored to hear that I inspire you. What? Bye. But also, yeah, very, very honored to have somebody that I get to relate to in such a specific way on this transnational family tip. I feel like there's just so much there that is left unsaid because lack of words to even describe. But thank you for that. I'm gonna share two poems. One is kind of short and the other one is longer. That's all. This first one is very much of a rough draft. It doesn't have a name, but it's after Chinaka Hodge's Libation. Shout out to LA, you feel me? Daughters just, did their thing. But anyway, this is for First in Vermont, Wilshire and Commonwealth. For Andres, who taught me how to swing in the basement studio of the townhouse. For Miss Vera, who was the first bruja I ever met, who stayed way past the hour she was paid to watch us dance. This is for our elementary school limbs learning how to curve our angles and call each other grace. This is for the waterless koi pond, the fish who watched eternally still as we stitched together kinetic learnings, our first dances. This is for the sweaty, dimly lit Thomas Star King gym, for all the dance battles, all the flailing, all the shy parts of ourselves coming together and naming this freedom. This is for Wendy and Lorena and Tanya, for the friendships that were and then weren't. This is for Miguel, who somehow always finds his way back to me, for the days mommy drove us to the library, for reuniting on the corner of Sunset and Logan, for the bougie organic cauliflower hot wings he gave me for free, for calling it taking back what's ours. This is for Pablo and all the sick ass fools we know, for the way we brought our hoods to Westwood and named ourselves mirrors, for the way we found maps back home in each other's hands and kept our elbows out for each other's protection. This is for Patty and Alex and Julio, for South Central King Carlos and Tacos Gavilan, for running out after the ice cream truck minutes before hitting the liquor store for 40s before the late night session, for the training and the secrets and the love and the love and the love. This is for Chantel and Evelyn and the home we created, for the sisterhood that care into each of your bedrooms long after I've moved out. This is for the 10 freeway, for the 110, and even sometimes the 405 too. This is for all the turnover, for the streets that saw me grow up, change, and leave, and then did the same. This is for Jessica and Café Tropical, for the jacarandas that make her kin and the coffee that makes us branches of the same tree. This is for Jollibee and Tommy's and Pos Mexico, for Vincent and all our carefree summer love, for running into X's bootleg theater and allowing the nostalgia one night to make a home of high school memories over cheese fries, for the fingertips that linger on my waist, for the love that never wavers, for the home I keep coming back to. This is for never saying goodbye. Yup, and that's the first one. What? The end. Shout out to all those people and all those places. I love my homies. The end. Oh my God. Speaking of loving the homies, this next one is very much in, what do you call it? On brand? No, not on brand. To the theme of what this show is about, working people sections. As Issa mentioned, we all kind of like, did a little cute little thing and wrote poems after each other. I chose to wrote after Tianna Bratcher because Tianna Bratcher is Tianna Bratcher. Like, if you know, you know. But Tianna, whatever, y'all will find out. But point being, Tianna has a really gorgeous poem called How to Bury Me. And I think it's gorgeous for so many different reasons. But I think the thing that stands out to me the most about that poem is the idea of conjuring, of making up a whole ass heaven, where a whole ass heaven that honors the things that are important, the things that you want to be honored, the ways that you want to go, if that makes sense, like not in a morbid way, but more so like, nah, I deserve this. And that's the poem that I wrote after. It's called On Heavens Within Reach. It's after Tianna Bratcher. And the line that I wrote after was, I asked for a separate heaven. Yep, played a little bit with form here. We'll see how it goes. I asked for a heaven made to order, one where I could take pieces of my love and bury them in soil supple enough for blooming year round. I ask these roots to stay, strangers to any border. Listen when my dad says that California soil is fertile. Anything can grow here. So I collect dirt underneath my fingernails and pray he is right as I dig a bed for myself between the pericon and the hummingbirds taking flight. I sink into the earth, bury myself, and wish for something other than right here. I wish for something other than this earth. I bury myself and follow my roots across the bottom of clear seas, passing sunken cities and forgotten bones. I separate layers of gravel and dust, pulling myself into the walls of a sanitized hospital. I roam, finding anxious knuckles and scattered accents that sound like home. I shed fear and sprout comfort. Encomendaciones a Dios. I lace my fingers, bridging distance and time and language and customs. Nos enraizamos in the belief that here, in this heaven, there is no separation. We stay limitless. We stay limitless like the cosmos. Here we float con certidumbre simmering, fortaleza beneath the surface grows. My family links elbows and we sing our elders back to health. Our vocal cords become their dance floor. We are joyous in spite of ourselves. Laughter splits the sky in half and suddenly all that we are shines. In this heaven, Abuela Carmen pulls our language out of the breeze. Suddenly, no one needs a translator, just an ear and some space to be. All the grandparents meet us con brazos abiertos, ready to show us all we've yet to see. Reflect, and we reflect on all we've yet to see. This heaven is all mirrors and soil. We dig when we need to and bloom where we please. In Litquake said someone somewhere in this blood, y la misma vena respondió, alaquín. And our skin grew silver scales, catching each other's light. The skin nos guió further into collective memory, far enough to know that in this heaven, there is ease. There are plants for each elder to hold onto us from. This heaven is a garden. Mamey for Don San, coffee beans for Abuelito Fede. They stay alive in this realm. Rosas y lirios in this realm. Las rosas y lirios se riegan solas. Abue Juanita y Abuela Carmen blossom forever. We nurture the soil that keeps them here. In this heaven, no hay quien nos separe. Repartimos el patio entre los que quedan, cada quien a regar su pedazo de este legado. We take turns bathing in what our ancestors know, sembrando semillas, el terreno endulzado. We fold this sweetness beneath earth and morning fingers. Esta dulzura nos alimentará. In this heaven, goodbyes blossom heavy fruit. This heaven is ripe with mouthfuls of good, byes hanging from the lips of our tongues till there is no room but to feed. Nourish something new in the echoing absence of wrinkled hands. Good is all our mouths can hold. Good and the trees sway. Good is how we sustain the land. El sufrimiento se desvanece. Good, the lirios twinkle up at the sky. Good, bloom. Muy bien. Ve y florece. The wind whispers back in the voice of everyone I've lost. Trees respond. La vida no tiene sentido si no estás contenta. La brisa me levanta las ánimas, says to me. Las ánimas se levantan, saying, al cementerio te llevan, pero si quieres hacer contacto con ellos, sus espíritus están en el patio. And I feel every ounce of my spirit lifting beyond this realm into our place. This heaven we grew. This heaven made to order, seeing ourselves in the image of the leaves, flowers, medicine that once guided us through our journey in the physical plane. I collect all the words I don't have language for in the space between my heart and the soil. I tend, I till, I sow until I've conjured enough words. I conjure root words from the soil. I sowed enough language to be heard from here till eternity. The cempasúchil takes root and I know I've been listened to. Here, in this heaven, I feel my dad's words loud, clear, vibrating in my bones. I listen. Es simple. Nosotros venimos de la naturaleza y allí nos regresaremos. I've gathered all the silver this lifetime had to give me and prayed this heaven real. In this heaven, we are eternal. Here, we are always. Here, we are until we decide not to be. And that's all I have for you. Wow, I went over a little bit on my time, sorry. It's because I love my friends and talked about them. But speaking of friends, Coming up next, we will have the pleasure, absolute pleasure, of hearing from one of the sharpest tongues in the game. If you don't know, you're about to find out. She writes worlds worthy of her rage, joy, and divinity, and by doing so, she gives us all permission to do the same. So y'all make some virtual noise in the chat, in your space, wherever you're tuning in from. Y'all make some noise for Tianna Bratcher. Pew, pew.
Wow, wow, hello, hello. That was so beautiful, Sandy. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the work you just shared with us, and thank you for honoring my poem in that beautiful intro. Wow, thank you so much. Hello, I'm here 2 poems. Have titles because, you know, drafts. So I'm just gonna, I guess, give a little bit of context for this first poem. I have forgot that I was writing a series of poems that were about my shadow in my dorm room before my junior year. And it's just like my shadow is watching me go through all the turmoil that was undergrad. And so this is one of the poems that came out of that series that I forgot that I was working on. So we're gonna revisit it later. So yes. The shadow glides across the bare empty wall, wakes me to say enough, enough, enough. I press the pillow over my ears, but her insidious whisper crawls through my skin. I hear her voice in my bones. Leave this burning building. Take what is left of you, every scrap and nail clipping. You will need as much as you as possible. Go. Leave. I know this to be a warning, but I just bring the cover over my head. I want to dream of paradise, of soft, hot sand and desolate beaches. Let me forget, I beg. You think the world is done beating you, girl? Stay here and find no more tomorrows. Every night she hears me pray for time to stand still, but the sun and the moon are the most consistent love I know. I want to turn ash here, let the fire consume me, but I finally begin packing my bags. I open my broken suitcase, throw in my unused textbooks, collections of crop tops, and bouquet of dried flowers. I reach for her body, but she tells me this is home. She was born in this bed, on a November night, when a lover became a hunter, my body at one end of the barrel, a child of nightmares and relentless hands, her body only found in darkness. On the nights when I tried to forget the sounds of my muffled mouth, she watches me turn a bottle of whiskey upside down. She sees me waning, further and further into danger. She thinks I'm in danger, and I am. So I grab the last bits of myself from the room, a few clumps of hair, a jar of affirmations, a pair of dirty Doc Martens. I turn the light on to get one last look of what used to be mine, only to glance at the wall and find her body disappeared. Thank you. All right, wonderful. So I'm looking at the time, and I feel like I have opportunity to squeeze in another poem that that I did not necessarily prepare for. And so I write a lot about my time in undergrad, and this is going to be a short poem. I write a lot about my time in undergrad and just like everything that had unfolded there for me. And so a lot of my poems are sad. So I'm gonna do one more sad poem, and then we're gonna switch it up a little bit. And this one's actually not about undergrad, so I'm over here lying. Anyways, so this one does have a title. It's called A Child Blistered into the World. A child blistered into the world through split lip, icy winter, unattended piles of regret, closed fist, open palms, and unanswered pleas. Her name a callus she is still learning to smooth. her breath an incompetent white flag. When my mother says I have his face, I can't help but wonder if she detests me. If so, how many times has my smile reminded her of his crude tongue? My rage, like this body, an inheritance from both my parents, does not know who it belongs to. On nights when I long to know him beyond the retellings and the freckles on my nose, I imagine her with interlaced fingers, pressed palms, begging for blood, remorseful for getting me instead. Awesome. Okay. So I want to return us to the theme of the show. Okay. How many Soulja Boy fans are watching? I know, I imagine that people are screaming and saying me and saying I and, reciting Soulja Boy lyrics right now, because how can you not? So I wrote a poem. This was a little bit ago, but I wrote a poem in honor of Soulja Boy. So I'm gonna do something that I haven't really done before, and I hope it works. Again, this poem does not have a title, so I call it my Soulja Boy poem right now. Kyrie raises his hands to do the honors. Yep. And this is the moment whoever made our schedules knew they fucked up. Our 8th grade science class goes wild. We turn those lab tables into drums, screamed into beakers and test tubes. I don't remember the teacher's face only because I had other things to worry about, like making sure I don't miss my part. I point to Marissa and Precious, me, you, and you. We about to have fun. Then to Andrew, sipping on something that matched my shirt with his purple headband and purple braces and purple rubber bands around the ankles of his pants. We ruined the beat with our laughter. How could me and my compadres be so lucky to be given an opportunity to wreak havoc with each other? After this day, we lose the privilege of 8th grade lunch, but joke's on them. Now we in the cafeteria tormenting the 6th graders, or really just teaching them how to survive the authority. We tell them, you are less likely to get caught fighting if you do it in the bathroom. It's easier to break dress code when you have a hoodie. And these adults are here to serve us. We are the ones really in charge, with our audacity to be up in this thing, lawless. You see, we didn't have 5,000 ones, but we knew how to turn $3 into a feast, a spicy chicken sandwich, 2 chocolate chip cookies, and wash it down with a liquid straight from the heavens. Gatorade, a feast for the gods. I mean, that's what we were, right? What is more godly than a child's disobedience? I've told a dean not to speak over me when I'm talking and live to tell about it. My best friend let off a stink bomb once and we got the cafeteria to ourselves. One time, we all ditched class just to see if we could do it. Spent a whole period just basking in our brilliance behind the bleachers. I mean, look at us. Heaven sent, in our collared shirts and oversized backpacks. What's more powerful than a group of kids that move to their own beat? And you know what? Just let the beat play. Thank you. So those are my poems. And so I wanted to, wow, look at the time. I wanted to share that last poem in honor of Gabriel, who you're gonna hear from next, who is really amazing, who loves hip hop, who loves the craft of poetry, and also be out here, uplifting and honoring youth and youth voices. And so I'm really excited that y'all get to hear from Gabriel. This is somebody who really just, I'm thinking about times, okay, I'm about to be brief, but I'm thinking about times where like Gabriel's so cool because, I be trying to talk shit sometimes or be like, a little messy in the back. And Gabriel be like, okay, but let me tell you all the things that was dope about that performance, or like just switching it up. And I'm like, yo, how do you always have so much love? How do you always have so much like just care for folks and just care for craft in these particular ways? And just, I really appreciate the way that Gabe has uplifted me and my work and just like being in this collective, and just honored that like, Gabe is holding this space right now. So Coming up next to the virtual mic, give it up for Gabriel Cortez.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, yay, affirmations. I'm glad it was like, yeah, let's love on this thing, because yup. Yes, I got range. So I got two quick little poems for y'all. And yeah, as I hop into them, I think now would be a good time to remind folks too, like, of course you're tuning into this thing for free. But yeah, so shout out to Root Slam. We try to make sure all of our events are free. And I know that's something that's important to Litquake too, making this work accessible. So wanted to, if you got it in your pockets right now, got some digital currency, encourage you to hit up litquake.org and donate to them. And also hit us up on Venmo at the Root Slam if you want to donate to us. So support your community. And yeah, so here's a poem. It's called My Pastor Dresses for Church, Ending in Wealth Redistribution. And it's a series of haiku and tankas. So check it out. There's no testament, new or old, that could predict my pastor's suit game. This Sunday, a robe of paisleys coiled across his shoulders, looking like a bag of coffee falling slow motion over the pew. Last Sunday, subtle silver beneath the cuff, grays snatched off a tin man. 9 months, they said, no repeats. Each bow tie proof of power up high. My faith is not in God, but the gospel of Stacey Adams. Wool-spun peacock, pin-striped mafioso of polar white furs. Even with empty church, he sits cross-legged, buttoned, a voice sliding up from its brass collar, trombone smooth, filling a croaking arc. These days, we can't count our dead, gather to mourn, still the sermon bootstraps. I wonder if he dreams of rapture, the day his Lord returns to lift him from this polyester, raise him naked to the sky. Does he pray to wear the clouds like supple cotton, smog-leathered toes, while on earth, all us sinners are left with is a pool of warm silks, an armoire of divine scripture, fists full of rings in each hand. And I got one more quick little piece for y'all. This one is inspired by our beloved Cece. And yeah, it's really inspired by her essence in a particular moment where we were having like a little Root Slam workshop, and we had this little automatic caption generator that's transcribing everything that we're saying in the chat. And after the workshop, she was like, she said nigga and was just like, I wanted to see what it would do when I say that. Like, how would it transcribe it? And I was like, that's hilarious. And we cracked up. This is a poem inspired by that. And you should come through to our workshops too. They're every second and fourth Saturday. Hit us up on social media at the Root Slam to come through. We advertising, y'all. So it begins with the epigraph. I just wanted to see what it would do when I say. CC says nigga, and the automatic caption generator stops. Somewhere, a phantom stenographer lifts its hands from the keys and cranes a mylar ear forward, listening again for that giddy sound, which hinges the air between the bodied and the bodiless like a screen door. We chuckle, wondering how a computer might pronounce the 6th grade shibboleth. Lunch table where we learned to cuss, lick quarters bloody and knuckles skinned amongst our own. What could silicone or wires electric tell us of ash and cocoa buttered knees? Of lips thick with slang lifted off the backseat of an uncle's Acura, the oral tradition of poison distilled into cure. Nigga, disaggregated into syllables, is a 2-step authentication. From behind its aluminum dermis, the machine transcribes the living, studying the sound a muscle makes skipped across roof of mouth. It hears nasal cavity, soft palate, a throat hatched into blackbird from a tree, buzzsawed into dust. The computer whirs its robot fingers in search of a match, and we watch as algorithms scratch our breath into constellations for somebody else's sky. Nigga, nickel, nigga, nightgown, nigga, Nigerian, Nimbus, Megan, nigga, until finally, aha, from inside its glass display case, N****** A smiles back at us like a cheap grill. Censored version of the song they play at the slow dance, teachers interrupting our wind and sweat, the ugly shirt they made us wear for showing too much good black skin. And me and Cece are like, LOL, cackling at the familiar script, acquainted as we are with that hand behind the hand, its color and pull, how long before Zoom calls we learned whiteness operates at the level of code. But imagine with me a system hacked, however small. Imagine if, from within its constants and variables, ciphers and schemes, the automatic caption generator hears CC say nigga, and in the pause that follows, constructs an entire new alphabet to ornate its brilliance. And what if, from inside this opening, the computer caresses its own keys, knowing everything there is to know, and types N asterisk 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 A and means, look what cosmos I made for you. Nigga, a body of stars. Nigga, an asteroid belt slung so low the hem gathers black holes beneath it. Nigga, a history book so thick with references, letters, annotations. Its annotations annotated, not asterisk, asterisk, asterisk applicable, a hieroglyphic motion carved into light. Look, nigga playing double dutch with itself. Look, nigga bouncing a rock off her own head. Look, nigga a stream of water, an open hydrant pouring into the lake of its own mouth. Nigga of 3 moons orbit. Nigga of planets fixed by the gravity of the throat's guffaw. Nigga a spell, spelled out and secured atop the air, like the last sliver of night shimmering over the dark and illuminated horizon between us. Hey, weird shit. Thanks, y'all. And I'm super excited to get to pass this microphone on to this next poet who I'm super excited to introduce. She's a poet, educator, organizer, Zeta and Leo, a proud resident of Richmond, California, where she recently finished her term as poet laureate. When we say the working people section, we're really talking about her because she has like 11 jobs in constant rotation. So please snap it up, clap it up, show some love for Ciera-Jevae Gordon.
I'm sorry, that was hilarious. Thank you so much. It is super excited to be here with you all in this virtual space, especially kicking it with my family. I love y'all so much. I'm gonna also set a timer. I think I'm gonna do 2 poems for y'all. I don't think I'll have time for the 3rd one. But this first piece is, I don't know how many of y'all know, but the Root Slam just had a birthday or whatever. And the organizers have no idea that I'm doing this. So surprise, this is dedicated to y'all. If Roots talk back, they would say, Oakland over everybody. Because this is home to the creatives who make space for shit talk and stylish snapbacks. This place makes a home for love, for tea time and fresh veggies, and we march just as tough for the Warriors Parade as we do Black Lives Matter. This is what you call versatile. Home of culture for days, there is no place like Oakland. No place feet can go that would dare light a flame to this town. From Ghost Ride the Whip, Gas, Break, Dib, to honoring our ancestors with spilled liquor, prayer, and psalms, and this wouldn't be home. This wouldn't be Issa's home without the mention of ocean, how the blue hues kiss the sky as a reminder that they are always here, always a safe haven to float, to feel, to experience this feeling of existence. Yes, I said it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Oakland over everybody. If Roots talked back, they would say to Gabriel, you, wizard of words and wisdom, to say I admire you is an understatement. To date, I have learned the craft of shit talking and looking good while doing it. So good. Some people may never know I just came for their hairline, but this is not a poem about LeBron or about the game. This is about you and all the flyness your mama doused you in from the womb, from the moment you honored your gift of gab, turned it into a career in a way your middle school teacher could literally never. May she rest in her shame for trying to put out your flame. Let this be a cheers to your mastery in the arts, for Panama spread across the Bay Area because of your tongue. I will always hope the stories of your grandfather's teeth and the battle of soda industries you teach me to lean into self, but always carry my abuelita with me. This is a poem of thanks, ashe, amen, and so it is. If Roots talked back, they would say, Tasha, you embody the truest definition of friendship, period. Your laughter, like a childhood nursery rhyme, always bringing me back to my feet. With every line you speak, my soul grounded, and this is how I know miracles do happen. The way you rock a mic is so fresh, like an MC rapping. Fashion on fleek with a heart of gold so sweet you turn shit talk into glitter. Make the haters check their volume, run them down to a whisper, a poet, activist, a partner, a sister, a listener, that I never have to wonder if I'll ever walk this earth alone. No, y'all have birthed a village, and truly, it's the root slam for me. Ashe. Love y'all so much. I have the really amazing honor to introduce y'all, and I'm gonna do it with this poem, to one of my absolute favorite human beings, and that is Will. And so we'll get into that. So this poem is called Ashe in the Flesh. Land of tending tender servants, you teach me to be medicine, to be the very thing that heals. Underneath layers of ancestral mourning, you are my Ashe in the flesh. And so it is, and so be it. And amen for souls like you, soldiers like you, soil and soft and safe, and we savor and surrender ourselves to this side of Saturn, sitting freely on a Saturday morning to bless a Zoom room with a new rendition of words as medicine, or the science and practice of establishing the diagnosis, prognosis, treatment, and prevention of diseases with words. Because as the saying goes, they don't call it spelling for nothing. There is magic on your tongue. Be it the spirit or voodoo, you choose to conjure a love I've never witnessed before. One so plunged underneath earth, we think it didn't exist, but the roots of trees live in the unseen, and yet I know I don't need to see to witness. Your smile, a continuation of redwood tree rings, your joy extending out like 3D hugs, and I swear I can feel your warmth from here. You not only nourish with words, but feed the soul with everything the garden births, so down to earth. I often picture you as pine or palm or even a willow, but Will, you are always a tree planted, standing high like heaven, pouring out blessings, and yet always replenishing back into yourself. Teach me what it looks like to plant yourself more deeply. Strip yourself of the meaningless, set pronouns and adjectives to the side, and live in your verb. Grant peace by being, and I wonder if God made you tall to keep your ears close to heaven. Be you anything less than an angel, curator of life from soil, seeds, and water and love, lest we forget how magical it be to grow and groom something. Your hands do the work of the womb, a true connection of nature and nurture in tune. And I know now that healing comes from being rooted and often rerouted and plucked and stolen and rerouted again, refinding, redefining our own medicine. This be a reminder of the ways our ancestors are rooted in us. May they be the guiding force leading us through all the things we've already survived. It's true what they say, that they tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. We were signs of our ancestors' song of resilience. Sweet Ashe, sweet Ashe. Thank you. And without further ado, I would like to introduce this amazing human being. Will is literally a garden, a poet, the best babysitter on the block, a community healer, and rumor has it he gives the very, very best hugs. It's not really a rumor, it's the truth. And then when the world feels like it's crumbling down, he hand delivers a box of blessings from the garden. I am so grateful for you and all the ways that you show up. So everybody in the chat, all the Q&A, whatever, drop it, get lit, get live. All right, I'm going. Love you so much, Will.
Thank you, CC. I love you too. I need like 5 minutes to process all of that love. Like, what? That's amazing. I don't know how. Yeah, I'm so grateful for that. And I'm just sending you the biggest virtual hug and the deepest, most grounded ashe. Thank you so much. But greetings. I am blessed to be in the land of Fuchan in the garden. So CC represented me very well in saying that, all of those things. But yeah, I really wanted to use my time to just plug in the workshops. Every piece that I'm gonna share is one that we wrote in a workshop. And I wanted to just first off honoring a workshop I did with Tasha, talking about paths and talking about, yeah, just like imagining how we find inspiration in movement and how we find inspiration in just like whatever the pen literally takes us at. And so we did this exercise where we just drew a line whatever length or diagonal, straight, horizontal, and you could just find the letter that the word matches up with, and then you would use that each word that the line passes through to start a line. And so when I do the line, the words that I crossed through were appreciate, please, thank, at, you prefer, 9, attention, service, department. And I'm gonna use this first poem as like an affirmation, just for everybody but for myself. Appreciate my own healing. Please respect from a distance. Thank your mother for the limb she put on your body. At your own convenience, this fire burns down a home. For the easy way out. 9, lives aren't enough to cushion the sly ways you move. Attention, close the door on the way out. Service is not the only way you can show love. Department of Defense, your heart deserves protection. Thank you. That was one of them. And then the next exercise we did was actually inspired by Layli Long Soldier, who was a really dope poet that did this really awesome pyramid poem that you were able to read every which way. And the first line is attributed to them. As we my presence is dim light, a messenger from the gods above who see through me now. I am blind to that which holds itself within my chest. My solar plexus begins a glacier moving up from the root. Sliding is a form of moving forward, like a heart realizes a match isn't adequate without a spark. A rough, smooth surface enough to mingle itself wholly inside of, if just for a second. And then this next piece was a really dope workshop on imagination that Tianna led. And this prompt was to reimagine a new and alternate world. And I wrote this the day I got a speeding ticket. On this planet, there are no cops. A speeding ticket is a pass to go faster, a portal to my ultimate destination, dimensions of presence. On this planet, I can be in 2 places at once. My notebook is magic manifesting truth. Spells come from my mouth like, I wish you well. And on this planet, everyone is well. The trees are visibly breathing with us. Oxygen is a mist emitting from their leaves. They tell us they need us to survive, and we know the same. On this planet, mothers and fathers are just people. Forgiveness is caretaking, but not backbreaking. Bent backwards, earth shaking the ground is transparent. We see all the rocks, worms, bones, and the wounds of our ancestors. We remember where we come from. Here, my amethyst stone is everlasting healing. Soap, lip balm, body butter, and pocket massager all in one. Here, my hands are green, so everything I touch creates life. Spring be at the caress of my fingertips. Here, we have black lips, black hips, unchained, where every gathering be a celebration of joy. On this planet, we know joy as the universal religion. We make decisions based on our feelings and not on facts. We carry weight through transmutation and not on our backs. And then this next piece is a workshop that I did that I inspire y'all to do, is just to imagine your ancestors' garden and however it looks, and just is dedicated to all of the Black land ownership and the people, Black indigenous people trying to reclaim land. I walked through flowers I knew not by name, picked the sweetest fruits I could only know through taste, found an altar in the center of my ancestors' garden, and it told me to give thanks, spoke words as soft as cotton, fields grown on ancestors' backbone, singing songs to a broken tune but packed together. A garden on a slave plantation be a refuge, growing all the seeds sown into braided hair in order to get there, as if they were sent by design to take root and thrive. Everything I know about land begins with my hands. The melanin shades of dirt underneath my fingernails. I know this land is built on Black backs, that slavery built this country, and that every commodity from rice to sugar to tobacco to cotton passed through melanated hands. Blessed only to go to a white home, I know that after slavery, 40 acres and a mule was a false promise, that most Black people either stayed sharecropping for their old slave masters or followed the road in hopes of a new home. So I found God in the earth of my ancestors' garden, her feet caked with the weight of mud, seeds draped the ends of her hair, seeds dangled from her ears, and she told me the story about my great-great-grandma, Marie Bowen Robinson, a Black Cherokee woman, a land steward, started a beachside restaurant in Smithfield, Virginia. When growth overflowed a garden with too much ripeness to ignore, the KKK never told the tale of this harvest, the end of this season, when racism uprooted a garden in a homeland away from home, left a burned home fleeing itself. I just learned my grandfather's family were coal miners in Midlothian, Virginia. I can imagine them vaguely, healthy, happy, and nappy kindred, singing songs as beautiful as their smutted smiles, dirty clothes, breaking backs, digging a trench like a grave, seeking out something as black and valued as them, as black as their grins, but as useful as cotton was to the gin. Eli Whitney's cotton gin. Most people don't know was created by a black man, an African slave recreating a tool from his homeland, a white man taking all the credit, call him Eli Whitney. But ain't this known as the perfect way to keep a home warm, an engine humming a fine tune, or a country running off black and blues and tennis shoes, where we are the commodity? They want black bodies on white concrete, on paved streets, want the asphalt to separate us from where we come from, want our melanin to be hidden behind walls and cages. They know that the sun and earth is what we are made of. So my ancestors' garden can sometimes be a vacant lot, a burned house, be ashes waiting to rise again through roots still intact. The garden of my ancestors is black as night, but as green as an old growth forest in spring. Has all the fertility needed to still grow from a crack in the pavement, still reach towards the sky, still grow. Thanks y'all so much. I appreciate all of the love. Yeah, I'm gonna pass it to really a big reason why I'm part of this collective is Natasha Huey. And the reason I can feel so grounded and so rooted in my purpose here is because of the real deep intention that they're able to like literally have with everything, including onboarding people and including like writing notes, the best note taker, the best facilitator, the best host, like in all of the ways just hold so much space and so much love. And I have so much to learn from them about organizing, about transformative justice, just about everything that has to do with getting more organized as a person, human being, vessel, activist. So I'm really blessed to pass this on to Natasha Huey.
Oh my goodness. I need to learn it all from you, Will. Are you serious? Oh my God. I'm truly, my heart is like beating. I'm so like thoroughly humbled by this group and don't even, yeah, I'm not sure how I ended up here, but I am so glad that I did. And I'm so glad that I, for some reason, get to stick around and like sneak in and just like experience y'all's just beauty and stories and skill. And I'm so enamored with each and every one of you. So thank you so much for being here. And I am gonna share a couple poems and bringing it back up to the top. My first poem is inspired by Issa, who is, you know, one of the most phenomenal writers that I know, and so I can't really purport to be writing off of your writing, but more of like your personhood and who you are to me, and the impact you bring in the world. And yeah, I could go on and on and on, but I love you so much, and so appreciative for all you do. And this poem is about how, yeah, the way that you love, and the way our love evolves, and also inspired by each and every one of my co-organizers here, and how our love is evolving in this time to meet each other too. So this is friendship and shelter in place. Tires crunching gravel as your car pulls away from the driveway. Plastic bag with special order floss left for me on the gate handle. Scissors and an already browning blossom in a basket in the sun. A jar of mango salsa or tequila unlabeled and left on the doorstep. A swinging gate clanged shut. A laundry key in the plant box. Doorbell buzz with nobody on the porch. We practice loving each other's negative space. Invent how to be bodies over distance. Learn each other's ghosts while we're still alive. I can't smell your shampoo, but I can brew your favorite tea. I can't taste your pasta over the stove, but I can fry your auntie's lumpia left for me frozen in Ziploc. I can't touch you, but I can squeeze your cube of rose quartz until it's warm as my fist. This pandemic intimacy is waves and blown kisses through windows. Plant disease diagnosis over the phone. Just thinking of you cards. The playlist you made me on repeat. bags of oatmeal raisin cookies to eat faced away from each other. Our new spot in the garden with the big sun-warmed rocks, sharing evacuation plans and air filter recommendations, an extra pair of goggles for the tear gas, doorbell chime as we shuffle back to the sidewalk holding our homemade signs backwards. Elizabeth, birthday, happy, washing my very dirty car, always from opposite sides, bike rides to the water. Backyard barbecue with handwritten instructions for how to safely serve yourself, reading poems out loud to each other's pixelated smiles, the padlock combination to the community garden down the block, squirting your hands with water and soap from my trunk before eating Shake Shack in the park, pushing play on the workout video to sweat synchronized a city away, FaceTimes under blankets, DM'd Taurus memes, calls from the bathroom in the morning to check what kind of stressed we are today. Do you need anything from the grocery store? Can you screen share? Text me on my computer. Look at the moon. Drink some water. Cute mask. Air quality is green right now. Get outside. We reach and don't touch. We hug ourselves 6 feet away to say, if I could, I would hold you this tight. To say, remember right before lockdown when you came over and we made a massage train, took our shirts off and sunk our coconut oil slick thumbs into each other's shoulders, your hair on my wrists, your spine between my palms, your laughter on my eyelashes, so close, reckless with our breath and tender with our skin. Now we reach for each other like a landlocked stream reaches for ocean. We don't touch, but stone by eroded stone, we will one day. We know, like the water knows, we will. You gotta learn how to friendship when you can't do our regular loving on each other strategies. And I'm so grateful to every one of you who is like currently figuring that out with me. Yeah. And my last poem is, I guess, kind of like a poetry exercise I like to do sometimes, is just like try to love on parts of myself or the world that I'm struggling with the most. And I definitely struggle with like the myth of productivity, and like even in such a bizarre time. And I'm so grateful for all the many brilliant thinkers who are like dispelling that myth and like exposing it for like the capitalist white supremacist like message that it is. And so I'm trying to slow down and like not get trapped in that socialization. And this is one brand new first draft. Ode to Inefficiency. Praise the short task procrastinated from for weeks. Its water ring on the table so easily wiped clean, but I trouble with my finger around and around instead. Call it thought lapse. Call it made from scratch. Call it the scenic route, where arrival is always an open question. Praise the appendix. Handwritten letters, ploids, and jigsaw puzzles, my invented college degree, my rock collection too heavy to take with me in the move, and each preoccupation capitalism does not understand. Praise the daisy chain, each stem gently thumbnailed open, another flower threaded softly through its eye, made best by children playing outfield, game forgotten, glove beside them. Praise the scrape of artichoke meat with my bottom teeth, leaf by slowly softened leaf. Praise the decades-long relationships we still reach for each other within, our fingers always slipping, always grasping. The inefficiency of my parents straining for the name of an Elton John song without the internet. What's the song with 4 o'clock in the morning and something bear? The song where he saves someone from dying? Honey Bear? Them holding hands across rows of car seats, torsos twisted and wrists bent just to touch. Sugar Bear, that's it. It isn't, and it is. Praise language and its perpetual failure. Memory and its haunted obfuscation. Praise Gabriel's Sunday ritual of watering every houseplant, one at a time in the sink, running water through some soil twice, 3 times, like rinsing a baby's hair. And praise every houseplant, what it takes to raise green life indoors at all, orbiting their leaning leaves away from the sun, then back again, curating the air, the light, the dirt, to mirror what's automatic on the opposite side of the window. Praise my beloved now dead dog, Daisy, my inefficient wolf, who didn't hunt or herd or walk well on a leash, a retriever by pedigree, but not practice. She brings a plain dead possum into the house and drops it at my feet. The possum, upon thudding to the floor, reanimates and bolts behind the bookcase. Daisy, barking now at the intruder by way of her own jaw, her inefficient instincts, at the possum and its inefficient defense mechanism. My father, with his inefficient tool of a wood plank, coaxing it to scamper out our wide open door. This story produces laughter when I tell it right. Learning to tell it right produces joy in me. Praise the bushel of crabs at Jem's last summer, the most inefficient meal. The sticky silence as we, careful not to cut our water-wrinkled skin, cracked shelled bodies in half and sucked tiny fingers of meat from their claws and crevices. Praise the inefficiency of making a meal, first naming our desire, then collecting its colorful elements, then bags carried home on the bus, then a knife and heat and spice and a drawer full of devices, the table set and music playing in each seat, filled and animal eager, the frivolous convivial virtue of feasting together. So much waste for a few nutrients, the plants cackle as they photosynthesize, ignorant themselves of the taste of strawberries over pound cake and whipped cream, or the perfect pleasure of French fries, grease, and salt. I understand that raw kale is more efficient for my body's function, but I guess that also depends on how you define a body's function. Praise the striptease, praise the daydream, praise the pomegranate seed by seed, praise democracy and modified consensus, your many meetings and check-ins and pages of notes, your dreaded city council meetings that drag through the night, your phone banks dialed and flyers distributed by hand. Praise my own chaos, my mess and maddening cycles, my meandering, glowing dreams. The multiple daily calls to my mom, the texts I send that say hi with too many eyes and no agenda. Praise your morning pages and 5,000 words a day, 5,000 words a day, and praise also the wandering, the doodles, the dance, the tantrum. Praise our painful distance from each other to slow the virus's grim grind, elongated by evil's effort to eat itself. There are too many terrible efficiencies. Thomas Edison electrocuting elephants as argument. Drones and stones and bullets, lies and erasure and theft. I reject your definitions of development, of waste. Praise instead the squirrel, burying nuts and acorns with industrious fervor and misplacing most of them beneath the soil. Praise the squirrel who loses dinner and plants an oak tree, a forest of forgetful, in abundance of accidental function. Whew. Thank y'all for listening to all of this brand new work. And yeah, again, thankful to so many of my co-organizers, to all of you. Thank you so much. And thanks to Litquake. And I'm going to pass it back to Gabriel to close us out.
Right on. And I see Graham's joined us back on the call too. So really quick, just wanted to say that's our show. Thank you again to Litquake and to the Oakland Public Library for holding us down with the Root Slam. Follow us on social media at the Root Slam. And hope you can come through to our writing workshops. They're every second and fourth Saturday. For all that info, just go to rootslam.org. And yeah, can't wait to be in community with you. What you got to tell them, Graham?
Just thank you guys. I mean, Jesus Christ, that was so good and so moving, and just to see all of you, like, just your words and loving on each other is just like, I mean, I know other people were crying during this, but like it was incredible to watch. And like, you guys should do this. Like, why? I mean, I know you don't want, like, you're probably used to doing it live, but like, do it on Zoom. Do it. Come on. It's been a while. You guys should. That was fucking incredible. Please. Thank you. Yeah, go check out rootslam.org. We got more events coming up in the festival through the 24th, so go to litquake.org to check those out. We're going to have the recording of this at our Facebook page, at the Litquake Facebook page, and on our YouTube page as well if you want to share it. God, yeah, thank you guys, and good night. Thank you so much, and I hope we're able to do this again sometime soon. All right, good night.